many of you know, I've started volunteering at the food bank. I work at the drive-through site where people drive up with their car trunks open and we run in and put in different food items depending what station they're on. We're on. So like, for example, if I'm on the vegetable station, I'll put in like potatoes and peppers or whatever two items are in my lane there. So I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of good exercise. It's getting me out and getting me to meet new people. In addition, we're able to take produce home or other extras at the end of the day because the food bank just doesn't want to drag them back, or it's just not feasible. So one of the things they really encourage us to take are the produce. And at first I thought, wow, that's kind of interesting. But now that I've worked there for a while, I really understand why that's the case. You know, at the supermarket, when you get produce, it comes in, you know, boxes, and it's all really nice and protected and all that sort of stuff and lasts forever. Well, the food bank, because I have to take care of several hundred people in a period of 90 minutes, and they have to bring the stuff. They have their produce in huge, deep crates, and that's what we're pulling out of. So the produce is put in the crates, and we're pulling it out of the crates, and so by the end of that whole procedure, the produce is driven up in the crates, and by the end of that whole procedure, the produce is not, it's in fine shape, but it doesn't have the lifespan of what you would get at the grocery store. So if you get produce from the food bank, either for yourself or for somebody else, you have to use it or process it pretty quickly. So I had the opportunity to get quite a bit of produce right before Christmas. They had a lot left over at one of the sites I was at, so I picked up as much as I could for myself and others, and this video is about how that all played out. First thing I did was go through all the peppers. Some of them were not salvageable, and so those were tossed immediately. Others just had a small amount of bruising or a small defect like that, and I could definitely cut the bad parts out. Here's what my sink looked like after I was done. And again, nothing goes to waste here. All of this was taken out and put into the compost where it will be used to make new soil. Some of the peppers I cut up into little squares or little slices to use in my salads for the next couple of days. Put those in the fridge. The life of these peppers looked like they were going to be pretty short. I decided to dehydrate as many as I could. So some of them I diced with a knife and put on the dehydrating tray like that. And then I got tired of doing that, so I pulled out the food processor and put them through the slicing blade and dehydrated those that way. I'm interested to test and see which one comes out better when they're rehydrated, and I'll let you know how that went. Once I got the peppers going in the dehydrator, I decided to work on the bananas. I separated them out. Some of the bananas were also not usable, and some were partially usable, and some were actually in pretty good shape. I cut the bananas in pieces, and the parts that were bruised I threw in the food processor, and the parts that were good I put into a refrigerator container. If you want to freeze bananas so that they stay nice and white, wrap them in wax paper first and then put them in a freezer bag, then put them in the freezer. They will not discolor. After doing this banana selection for an hour or so, I began to realize which bananas were in great shape and which were banana bread quality. So a lot of the bananas I felt were probably in just fine shape, no worse than anything you'd get at the grocery store, so those I put aside. And the rest I put into the food processor and began just pureeing them. I ended up with 4 of these 6-cup containers of banana puree, which I ended up using that puree in my banana bread, which I've been putting into my little goodie bags to give out to people at Christmas along with cookies. The rest that were in good shape I wrapped up in the wax paper and put into the freezer. Later in the day I double checked my peppers, and they were drying up nicely. The first ones I did were the diced ones, and then I also did the sliced ones, and ended up getting 3 containers. I still have one more bag of peppers I have to work on. I knew I wouldn't be able to process all of the veggies and fruit I brought home with me, but I knew people who would love to have it. So I made some phone calls, and the next day I had to leave town and took a couple of boxes with me, and in the end I think 6 different families and individuals got some of this, and we're just delighted to have them.